this sits right in between these two behemoths. You got Nashville on one end, you got Memphis on the other end as it relates to music. Why is it that people chose to come here versus the two obvious spaces that people would normally go to?
Yeah, sure. Things really kind of came up here in the 1960s. The first #1 record I mentioned earlier was When a Man Loves a Woman.
Yep.
That was a pretty significant event for Muscle Shoals as a whole. Like, Fame had several hit records since then on more of a regional standpoint at that time, but nothing to the size of what When a Man Loves a Woman became. It was recorded at a little cinder block building studio called Nor Alla, When a Man Loves a Woman was.
Okay.
But anyways, people came because of the uniqueness of the musicians. The culture of the town and the musicians that were locals that were working on the records just developed their own sound, just like how musicians in Nashville and in Memphis had. Like, each region kind of develops its own, their own way of playing, the local musicians, and it developed into what is now broadly considered to be the Muscle Shoals Sound.
For sure.
That was the reason this studio was named Muscle Shoals Sound. When the Muscle Shoals rhythm section, the Swampers, left Fame Studios in '69, they were trying to decide a name on the studio.
Okay.
And David, our bass player, he said, they've got the Memphis sound, they've got the Motown sound and Nashville sound, and he was like, we gotta have the Muscle Shoals sound,
So it was playing off of that.
Really
okay,
playing off of that,
yeah.
and
on a much smaller scale, because those are larger cities.
Absolutely right. Like, they had like hit records with Aretha Franklin.
Yep.
Like, she did her first hit, I Never Loved a Man, at Fame, and then they did like Mustang Sally and I'd Rather Go Blind as well too. That with Hedda James.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredible records, but like not to the longevity of the history of Nashville and that. So it was a really significant moment, that they didn't know about. True, I'm sure. Like, it was a pretty significant moment that in 1969, in April, they named their studio Muscle Shoals Sound, and it becomes this now broad term of what is described for all of the music from this area.
Yeah. So the individual that found it, you said we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about him?
Oh, yeah. So, let's see. Let's turn around real quick. I got a photo I'll pull out.
All right, cool.
To show you.
Good stuff.
It was 4. What was unique about this studio is that the Swampers, and I'll point them out here for you.
All right, please do.
This is a photo of the first recording session here, which again was with Cher. Now, to point out the Swampers, who were our owners of the studio, the people that founded this. So in the back left, this is Jimmy Johnson, who I knew. Jimmy was the guitar player of the rhythm section here. He was also a recording engineer and a producer as well too, but Jimmy was one of the key members of the Swampers.
Okay.
And then on top of that, here's Roger Hawkins, who was the drummer of the group as well too. Roger Hawkins was from here, about 20 minutes outside of here. Jimmy grew up in Sheffield, where we're at now. This is Barry Beckett here in the back, who was the keyboard player of the Swampers, who's from Birmingham originally. And then David Hood, our bass player, up front from Sheffield, Alabama.
So this was the day that Cher first recorded here, which was the first recording artist.
First record ever cut here.
Wow.
What was significant about her record, too, we started out in our video in the face
She just
of the
doesn't
building.
age, man.
No, right. Right. So,
okay, that's what's up, man.
Her record was titled 3614 Jackson Highway. Out front, there's a sign that says our address, just like this. It was copied from this album artwork, though. This was the first record ever cut here. She kind of honored the studio in its opening, named it 3614 Jackson Highway, and the Swampers put the sign up on the face of the building as well. Now, to speak on the Swampers a little more, though, Jimmy, David, Roger, and Barry. So it's Jimmy, David, Roger, and Barry Beckett. In the 60s, they were the band at Fame Studios, and they were kind of a freelance rhythm section. They worked at several studios that were here in town, Fame and Nor Alla, and by the late 60s, they had cut many gold records, about 10 gold records, before they would end up opening this place.
Okay.
And they kind of had an aspiration and a dream to open their own recording studio. Sure. They were getting a lot of work by 1969. They thought they might be quite successful if they opened their own place, and went out on a limb and became the first musicians in history that had ever owned their own recording studio. So it had never been done where the rhythm section that played in-house was also the owners of the studio and the company itself too.
Wow.
You know, like Stax Records at the time had Booker T and the MGs, but essentially Booker T and the MGs were just kind of like hired guns, you know? And the Swampers, very unique that they owned the building. Probably in a way how they were able to sustain themselves as a rhythm section as well.